Good. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is the session on glTF in action and how companies are using the JPEG of 3D. Welcome to the Khronos Developer Forum as well. I forgot that slide was next. My name's Daniel Frith. I'm Vice President of 3D at a company called Avatar.ai. And I'm very excited to be presenting this session along such esteemed and brilliant panelists. If we could go through each introduce yourselves and say who you are and where you come from, that'd be great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley. I'm the Chief Creative Officer of All3D.
I'm Ashley Crowder. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ventana.
Another Ashley.
Double Ashleys.
Mike Festa, in the Khronos organization. I'm the vice chair for 3D Commerce. I also work with Jatinder at Super DNA. I just launched a game on Kickstarter called Paint Fiesta. Wear a lot of hats, and happy to be here.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Hadley. I'm a product manager at Snap working on AR shopping technology.
Awesome. Thank you. So Ashley, Patrick and Mike will today present we'll present a series of glTF use cases to everybody, and we're going to then discuss these and talk over the challenges, maybe some tools that we use and some asset creations, and then at the end we'll take some questions from the group here, and maybe also discuss glTF workflows, and then these will show how the leading open standard for 3D on the web can be used in applications spanning e-commerce, industry and marketing. So let me first come to this, Ashley. And then I'll bring up your slides and then take us through your slides. Just give me a second.
Wait, but I don't have slides.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really messing this up, aren't I? There was also supposed to be I'll just do a little show reel of the work we do in glTF as well, which kind of gives us a showcase of everything that glTF does. Right. Let me just get your... Brilliant. Where's it gone? Sorry, Ashley. Oh, man. Where's it gone? Now, where's it gone? Here it is. This is you, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
No,
as we get this going, I'm Ashley. I'm the Chief Creative Officer of All3D. At All3D, we're democratizing the creation of 3D assets and silo images, lifestyles for sellers and creators. We've created a browser-based platform that's super easy for anyone to use. Don't ask me super technical questions. I'm an interior designer. I'm the one making the beautiful creations. But what we've built is this amazing platform that anyone can come on. They can upload assets. They can use our browser-based system and create, things for e-commerce, social media, any kind of marketing assets. So what you'll see here is a demo of our platform. We use glTF for the creation of silo images and also our scene creator, where customers can come on, they can create a space, they can put products in the space and then generate lifestyle images, 3D tours, and download them for their use. Take it away.
Awesome.
Digitize products that don't exist today so they can sell ahead of the manufacturing cycle. We make it easy for sellers to create virtual products and storefronts for e-commerce, social media, and print. On the All3D platform, you can create virtual products, spaces, and collections, where you can put products into spaces and generate high-resolution lifestyle images, 360s, and 3D tours. To create a product model, simply click this button, where you can upload existing 3D product models or create a new product model. To create a space that can be used as a virtual showroom or storefront for e-commerce, social media, and print, click the button, enter all of the information regarding your floor plan, reference imagery, and create your 3D space. Using our automated Silo tool, customers can generate high-resolution images in the cloud that look like real photography, as you can see here. To do this, you can simply click the Generate button, select the Silo photography tool, and what you will see is a low-resolution image of your 3D product model. We have preset default silo images where you're able to select any of these angles that you'd like, or you can zoom in and out, move the product around to get specified angles that you're looking for. Once you're happy with your shot, you simply click this button, select orientation, aspect ratio, resolution, DPI. You're able to adjust your field of view, or you can select custom settings, hit apply, and these images get rendered in the cloud in minutes. Take your image that's generated in the cloud and then quickly and easily upload these to any retailer website. To create high-resolution lifestyle images, easily create a collection by selecting a space and products from your library or shopping the All3D store for additional props and accessories, then quickly design and generate high-resolution images in the cloud. You can easily and quickly design in a 2D or a 3D format. Easily drop your products wherever you want in the space, select them, and move them around to design your space. You can move into a 3D format where you're able to take products and move them around. As you can see, there's intelligence built into the system already, so if you have art, it's automatically placed on the wall and you can just drag it to the location that you need. If there's light fixtures, it's automatically placed on the ceiling. And once you've completed your design, you can go ahead and select Create Images, Create 3D Tours, or Create 360s, where high-resolution imagery is rendered in the cloud. You can move your camera to set up your shot, and once you're happy with your shot, you go ahead and hit this camera button to take your image. Once you're ready, go ahead and select Create 3D Tour, and as you'll see, automatic camera placements are already placed in the room for you to select from. So you can select the room, select the camera, and then once you're happy, you go ahead and request 3D Tour.
So as you can see, it's really geared towards anybody to use. It's super simple. You can just log into the system and you're able to generate any type of asset that you need.
It's a great system. Just a couple of questions.
Yeah.
How do you handle? I mean, I guess it really emphasizes the importance of standardization. We talk about glTF as a file format. So how does that? Can you maybe explain the importance of that?
Probably not.
Oh yeah, you did say you weren't technical. Okay, but maybe then another question.
The glTF is used. I mean, it's so it can be browser based and it's super lightweight.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's really why we use it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not technical.
Love it. Do you create the assets yourself, or can other third parties put assets into the system?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can upload models. You can create models. You can log in, use it yourself, or we have managed designers that can help you do it for you if you don't have the creative talent. But It's really for customers to come in and do it themselves.
Okay, so they've got their own library of assets,
Yes.
and then they're putting it into your tool and your system, and then using your platform to do the images
Exactly.
and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't have to have 3D skill or
Okay.
any special software.
So is there anything in your system, so you do rendering images there for product images, is there anything around, what's the importance of, I know you're not technical, but like what's the importance around standardization of those shaders and the models? Because I guess otherwise
Yeah, it
you
needs
could
to
get
be used
random
in the system.
colours.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had situations where models are uploaded, they don't look good, the lighting's
Right.
not good, the materials are not good. So we do have systems and kind of standards on how to create a good model. So
Okay.
it's like garbage in, garbage out. It's if you put in, bad looking stuff, the output's not going to be great.
And are there any challenges with that, with like clients?
Yes, of course.
I mean, as in like, so like, do clients say, hey, the system isn't producing as I wanted it to be, and then you have to go through a process of explaining to them?
I mean,
or-
it's more showing them the output. If we're up creating the models for them, they can see what the output looks like.
Okay.
And if you're uploading a model that doesn't look high quality,
Yeah.
then obviously that's going to be reflected in the final result.
Cool.
So then they end up wanting us to do it for them.
Amazing. Oh, no, that's great. Yeah, but that can also be a real result, right? Okay, thank you. Sure. Amazing. Next, we'll go to Ashley, the other Ashley from Ventana. I'll get your presentation up.
Cool. All right. And I'll just click through if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So we're Ventana. We're a 3D content management system, and our goal is to make 3D fast and easy at scale. So we see innovators extending 3D across the entire life cycle of a product, from design and manufacturing to B2B sales and e-commerce, to save money, increase speed to market, and increase sales. The problem is, a lot of existing IT infrastructure was only built for 2D. So their existing PLM, DAM system wasn't built to handle 3D content. They don't have 3D experts in-house. And this ends up being a problem where people end up having 3D models on OneDrive somewhere, and then Dropbox, and then maybe in their Flex PLM. And so we're here to help connect all the dots. So with Ventana, we're a headless CMS. You bolt us on to your existing platforms to upgrade quickly to handle 3D at scale. And it's all enabled by our patented optimization. So we can take existing manufacturing files and automatically convert them into, the small GLB, USDZ, and FBX to use places. We work with a lot of fashion companies, so I thought I'd take an example. So this is Clo, which a lot of people use with our plugin. So I'm uploading a file and choosing my settings. You can choose what optimization settings you want, so what texture size, polygon limit, and then it uploads to the cloud and automatically processes to give you what you need. And then you can, adjust the lighting, get the look and feel you want, and then copy and paste the iframe if you want to. Add this to your e-com site. Now you've got this beautiful blue T-shirt that is in a Khronos certified viewer, so we know that blue is at least what we think it should be. And then, you can also drop pins, add comments. We do have review workflows. This is using Google Model Viewer, but then everything is tied into the CMS, so you can collaborate and resolve comments. You can also select different assets and publish just in a second to create 3D line sheets, which is how often people do merchandising, line planning, and sell to Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom's. So instead of sending physical samples in a couple minutes, you can create a shareable 3D line sheet, which saves tons of time and money. And then, of course, this is too much of a video, but yeah, you can upload from your desktop too if you want. But this is just showing how you can actually embed, the iframe onto a number of websites. Or you can use an API to pull the JS component if you want to get really fancy and do things at scale. But that's what that looks like. And then we've also now have integration with Google, so we can publish GLB to Google Manufacturing Center. So we can actually surface 3D in Google Search, which is really exciting. It's just in North America right now, but they're continuing to roll it out. So far, we're seeing a 6% higher conversion rate with 3D Google Search compared to 2D images. And And then we can also now publish to Amazon. 3D on your Amazon storefront. They are doing shoe try-on the Amazon app, which is really cool. View in your room for bags and clothing and furniture. But yeah, these are like, if you're building to the glTF spec, these are all the amazing places that you can go. So you can create this like omni-channel consumer experience in 3D everywhere. And you can try it out. So we have a free version. You can scan it. You can upload assets. And let me know how it goes.
Thank you. A couple of questions. Actually, one in about optimization, because it sounds like you get lots of different inputs of formats. Like, what are the challenges there? Because, of course, there's different resolutions, different, there's so much variable that can come into that.
Completely. So, yeah, and every program's different. Like Clo does its own weird things to material, and Browseware is its competitor who is good in something. It's kind of like saving a PowerPoint versus a PDF, right? So we basically built our CMS to have multiple 3D pipelines, and you can customize those 3D pipelines. So there's over 40 different flags. So but we can create presets. So for most of our fashion designers are like, I want this to work on Amazon. I'm going to choose the Amazon dropdown, and I know this is going to be good. If you're, more invested in 3D, like we've got some 3D fashion designers who are very knowledgeable in 3D, and they're like, I want to optimize this, but preserve UVs and meshes because I want to be able to recolor this in another program. And so we have all those options, and you can build custom pipelines if you want to, but if you don't want to, we can just make presets for you.
And then how do you manage the quality of that? Because if you've got these different variables coming in and people are using your platform to then get different outputs, of course, bit to what Ashley said earlier, rubbish in, rubbish out. And how do you manage the quality with clients on that?
Yeah, we end up kind of consulting in their 3D workflows some. We always tell everyone to create a standard material library that is beautiful fabrics that you love, that's high quality to use everywhere. We're also just like trying to move mountains and work with Clo and Browseware and like please fix this. And they don't listen to us. We're like, Calvin Klein, tell them to fix this. They'll listen to you. And then Swatchbook is another partner. They've created a marketplace. So they scan fabrics from textile companies in Asia who manufacture textiles, and then they license their software to designers so you can design with real materials that exist in the real world with the pricing. So I'm designing an outfit, and I actually know the vendor for that material and the price, and it's scanned properly and with real-time PBR materials. And then we have an integration with them, so it gets optimized. But Swatchbook is doing really cool things. So
that's amazing. All right, thank you. I could ask loads more questions. Thanks for that. Patrick, I was going to get your video up. If I can, sorry. I need to see that, didn't I? Here we go. Where are you? Okay.
All right. So at Snap, we're really leaned into glTF. As you see, there's a lot of different lenses, as we call them, that has AR experiences, whether it's a shoe try-on or glasses try-on. It could be a bag on a surface. And glTF is what we use to kind of power all those experiences. And then also not just in the AR, but we also have the 3D Bitmoji. We're also using glTF there as well. It's really about the performance, the interoperability. We work with quite a few brands. You saw a few brands in there. Having one standard that's industry-wide that people can kind of build to, that we can be able to accept it, is kind of one of the big reasons that is performant in AR. That is really why we're kind of leaned so much into glTF. There's other reasons with the metadata and different things as well, but that's kind of the main reason why we are so heavy into glTF.
Thank you. Questions then, like, what should companies think about when getting started? Because you've got a lot of applications, a lot of different tools people can use. What should companies think about when getting started?
Yeah, I mean, you guys touched a little bit. I don't know if people were in the conference that you guys were just in, but people come in thinking that they have to build these very kind of complex, very heavy models in order to work really well. I think you can do a lot with even just the glTF specs. And I think the recommended size is like 4 megabytes. It's really about the textures and the materials and the lighting that's going to make it show, and the rendering engine that it goes into. So that's kind of one thing, is you don't really need a lot, but if you want to start and you put your kind of focus somewhere, it's in the textures and the materials, and then you can always downscale those, right? Like create a 4K texture, downscale it to 2K. We really want to make it kind of performant in our AR, so we'll do that, potentially for the brands. But that would be the thing, is start with kind of a solid base model that's got the right optimizations or the right focus, and then as you go into other surfaces or other use cases, you can modify it or downscale it as needed.
And like, is it all right if you share a little bit about because you're in the 3D Commerce working group, you're doing a skeletal facial working group?
That's the other thing. So with Khronos, it's been great because a lot of that stuff's defined. We'll just say, go look at the Khronos spec. But one thing that's still been a challenge is if somebody makes a shoe or eyeglasses, they want to try to use it everywhere. There's not really a standard right now to use that product, interchangeably at Target or at Amazon or at Snap. You kind of have to modify it or, do transforms to get it placed correctly. So one thing there's a board over there that I put up there. I'm leading a working group that's based on a little bit on avatars, but it's the skeletal anchoring. So kind of how do you define the 3D interaction or the interaction with the human body? And this will allow it so that if you can build shoes, glasses to the spec, everybody will be able to kind of instantly put it on with accurate placement, kind of the best placement onto the human body as well. So please take a look at the board. If there's anybody interested, I'll stick around at the end to chat through that as well. But that's been the biggest challenge, is the lack of a spec standard to get kind of off the shelf and just bring it in with no changes.
Brilliant. Thanks, Patrick. Mike.
Excellent, thanks. So feel free to pull up some slides. I'm planning on mostly just talking, but as a quick background and introduction, I've been working with SuperDNA 3D Labs for the past year and a half. Prior to that, I had a startup called 3XR where we were doing content creation and management. One of the challenges that we saw was talking to brands and figuring out where they are, meet them where they're at. And a lot of the brands are still figuring out what is 3D, how do I use it, and then once they want to use it, how do I do it at scale? And so, what we're trying to do within SuperDNA is be that kind of central point. And glTF is a file format that allows us to basically be kind of universal. The idea is really create it once so you can use it anywhere. And, there's a lot of different ways that content comes to us from customers. They might have just a URL. So it's super simple, here's our Amazon page. Do what you can. And, the talented 3D artists can go in there and they can look at those images and they can come up with content. Sometimes we leverage existing things that we've already made that are kind of similar product categories. Material libraries are huge. If you can use that well, then you can bring in realistic looking, textures and consistent across products. But, it's an interesting space because you never know what you're going to get from a customer. They might think, I have a 3D file, and they send you a 2D CAD drawing, right? So working with customers is always a challenge, but the end result is we want to create this glTF file that is essentially, accurate reflection of the product. And so we can utilize a lot of the new kind of PBR Next material properties, which is always important. So you can get some of these new, refraction and interesting, translucent irradiance and all kinds of cool stuff with these extensions. But at the heart of it is the glTF model. And if we go to the next slide, I'm going to talk about a tool that I made for the team. So I mentioned earlier that I am I'm now the vice chair for the 3D Commerce working group. Within the 3D Commerce working group, we had a subcommittee for asset creation guidelines and standards. So over a number of years, we kind of authored these specifications. So there are more suggestions and best practices that we found for building commerce-focused products. There are certain attributes that are important. And we came up with a list of numbers and file sizes, triangle counts that were our recommendation. But the reality is that every different use case has its own needs, and it's not one set number. There's no right. You need to have 50,000 triangles because maybe you actually have a dedicated VR experience. If you look at like what Lowe's is doing right now with their headset and haptic feedback, they're not constrained by a mobile web browser, right? And so they're going to want the highest fidelity content they can versus, we're trying to put something on Snap really quickly and the consumer is impatient. They want to see the thing and they don't care if it has all the little details and 4K textures. So we, appreciated that there is this range and there are these different use cases. So what we came up with was this tool called the Asset Auditor, and it uses the glTF validator to validate that the file is technically accurate, but it adds all this additional information and does kind of like a deep inspection into your glTF file. So going beyond just the names and the details that are in the file itself, this tool actually kind of opens up and rebuilds the 3D model itself. It can look for things like sharp, hard edges, which can indicate unrealistic looking products if you want to have beveled edges to make it look better. And so the tool has a number of different criteria that can be specified by the use case. So we have these schema files that you can vary by use case, by company, and you plug that in and you plug in a 3D model and it gives you a report. So there is a visual tool that we have available. The URL might be up on there, but you can just Google, Asset Auditor, and you should find it. The real power to this tool, though, is the extensibility. So you can plug this into your own workflow and make it part of your automated systems. So the idea is that when a model is created, you're creating all these variations that are going to go to Snap and to Amazon and to Wayfair or wherever, and it can check the specification and flag any issues before it even gets to the customer. So the main goal that we want to get to, I think, as an industry, is that the content is authored once, and it can be seamlessly pushed to all these different experiences, and you don't have to QA it 100 times or author it again multiple times. That's been a big barrier for customers in the past. They've created 3D content for offline rendering, perhaps, and now they want to do AR. They want to take advantage of the newest whatever. Maybe there's a Oculus Quest thing they want to do. And each time they want to do one of these new experiments, they're told by the artists, oh no, this format isn't correct, or this file doesn't meet our specifications, go back and redo it. So the customers that were early adopters have been burned by this a lot of times. And so as an industry, we need to get better at making it a smooth, consistent experience where you only have to pay once and you get all these value, propositions out of it. So anyway, that's kind of the main goal at SuperDNA 3D Labs. At Khronos, we meet every week. We'd love to have more people involved. We're trying to figure out what the needs are for the industry. So, again, please stick around and check out what Patrick put together here. We're happy to, take suggestions, and we want to figure out what's the future of, glTF mean for you. So
that's
my soapbox.
That's actually a really good segue to, we'd like to ask if we've got time for questions from the audience, but also we want to just talk about how to get involved with Khronos Group in general, because not everyone knows how to do that. It's not always immediately obvious. But to join Khronos and participate in the working group deliverables, there's some information up there, how to join as a member. But if you're already a member, how to sign up for different account access, and member-only material can be found at different places. But if you're also interested in joining and using the Khronos standards or learning more, there's a lot of tutorials and open source repositories, and our standards are also available at that address there, the github.khronos.org. Let's take it to some questions if we still got time. Looking over to you there, yeah? And see if anyone's got any questions from the audience for this wonderful panel. Oh, do I need to hand them? Oh, you got my phone. Are there any questions? We've answered everything. Oh, there is a question. There's two questions. Here we go. There's got to be some.
Oh, thanks. We've only started to poke at glTF and maybe done a few things. That was the file format we were going with. But as far as validation, ultimately for us, we work with a lot of automotive brands. So clear code extension, things like that would be valuable to us. And obviously file size restrictions and things. And like you're mentioning, if it's going to Snap or Spark or something, well, that's one thing. And challenging to get a car to look, good or right. into another thing, obviously having those different LUDs, and so it was very interesting to see the validator on the metadata, like understanding, okay, here's where you failed, or at least for that use case. But as far as visual validation, is there a primary place to go? And just, I know things, like you're saying, depending on where you're rendering it in the end, but where would be the best place to know, here's the most common, or is there a validator for visual validation of just like, so you can load up a model and clear with a client, like here's how it ought to look, but you're going to these three different places ultimately. But yeah, we're looking for validation up front so that we know, at least we're hitting it, the artists are hitting it right from the beginning.
I mean, you've obviously got Mike's, the Khronos asset auditor, even though you don't. Right. Yeah. And we've also got a sample viewer as well, which is really good to look at, which you can find through the links there. Yeah, which is obviously. But there's also a certification program, so there's different engines that that we run through a certification program. So then that ensures color consistency and other things. But Ashley?
Yeah, I just was going to say, I don't know what viewer you're using, but like Khronos does have a viewer certification process to make sure you're at least using a Khronos certified viewer so that if you are using extensions like Clearcoat, you know that they're showing up. So that's important. But yeah, I think educating the customer to understand, what is the use case of having this 3D go to these different places and what are those requirements is important, because you can get really far with intelligent optimization and like texture baking and things, but I don't know, Roblox, like, no. Yeah.
Right. Great, thanks.
There was another question.
Just like as a continuation. By the way, Spark is certified. You can use it.
Good plug.
All right, a question for the first, Ashley. So when you render with this, like the camera shots or walkthroughs, is it rendering the glTFs, and what render is used on the back end?
Amra, what's the answer?
So we have a player. We use the Google Web for the AR and for webs to go around in real time. So that's what we use at All3D, which is of course Khronos certified. But that's what we use. And for the rendering, we right now everything is glTF based, but then we have models that are in high resolution, and we use V-Ray and other forms of renderer to generate the images. So we keep two different copies, all different formats for one model. And it's usually one model that is then decimated for AR as far as the geometry is concerned, what Patrick talked about. And materials are also converted, downsized, downscaled for our browser-based tools, which is all GLB-based. But in the cloud, we also keep high-res models in PBR material. And geometries, usually we use OBJ, FBX, whatever, and then we apply it and render it in V-Ray today.
Okay, thanks. So for the materials, do you start with a high res, like a V-Ray material, and then?
No, we actually are doing, so they're made in 3D Studio Max, and they use Substance Painter to convert them into different, but we create PBR material from scratch. It's PBR based. And then some customers want V-Ray materials, so we have both pipelines to create them both. But the PBR materials are now better, even as rendered, than some of the V-Ray materials today.
Yeah, okay,
and that's what we're finding. No, seriously. And I can't name this customer. It's a really high-end customer that is in the Bay Area that spends a lot in photography, and it's all PBR materials. And the geometry is the poly counts are out there, which is a problem because they're higher than they should be. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that matches kind of my view. I know a lot of companies have struggled to keep these two things in sync and then map from one or the other. Yeah. And with all the developments we're doing on the PBR materials in glTF, it's great that you can kind of use that as a source.
And I need to go back and join your group at some point. So.
Yeah, because I mean we have good representation from a lot of the real-time tools. Like
yes, understood. But, we want our customers to go real time, but they are not accepting of real time, unfortunately. But even in with the 3D viewer, actually it's getting to a quality even as a configurator to use PBR material, but the lighting needs to be baked, unfortunately. But it's getting really good. So
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, if anyone has use cases using glTF PBR materials for offline rendering, I think we would be very interested in your feedback.
All right.
Oh, Ashley, number 3.
Ashley over there.
Yeah, I was just going to say you can use the same techniques that you see if you go look up the viewer certification program. Obviously, we're talking about glTF real-time viewers, but you can use all of those same calibration techniques for your offline renderer. You can use it for your ray tracer. It was originally designed actually for a ray tracer, and then we converted it to work for open renderers. So actually, the lights and the things that you'll see in the Khronos certification program were created for iRay. And then
really? They were? Okay.
They were created for iRay.
Which never materialized, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was originally asked to do, was to create them for iRay. Patrick knows why. There's a long history of why. But you can use those same calibration techniques. Essentially, you're using the same techniques that a photographer would use in a physical studio too, where you're using X-Rite color chart values. You're trying to make sure that input equals output, yeah, more or less. And so you can go and you can still look at those instructions that are up there, and you can use them for your offline renderers too. Obviously, with a path tracer, ray tracer, you're going to get more, right? You're going to get more lighting, but ultimately you can still calibrate your color. You can still make sure you're like more or less on track, and you actually could come up with an image that maybe we wouldn't be able to tell where it came from. So you can always do that. It's the same exact process.
Let me just add one more piece to that. It's not like you're creating two separate models, though. You're creating one model that follows kind of the best in practice standards with PBR, and then you're almost converting it or downscaling it to what's needed. So ideally, you're only creating it once, and then you almost have like an auto kind of downscale. And we've been looking at this for like LODs and smart loading as well, right? Because if you want to kind of load it in as fast as possible, you might want to almost like a YouTube video pixelated, and then eventually kind of have the higher fidelity. So for real time, I just want to make sure it's clear. It's not like you're creating two separate models here. You're creating one, and then you kind of create different versions or LODs of it.
And just to your point, it depends on how quickly it loads on the website. So we do the same thing. For the loading, you show the low res, and then as the high res comes, it just converts.
So the high res model, what format would that be in today?
But when they're building it, like you can use whatever tool, 3ds Max or whatever, and then you have that source model. And a lot of times people like to use that for the really high res, I'm sure you can use glTF, but a lot of times glTF's got that performance enhancement that makes it really great for that real-time rendering. It's the same base model that you've got in FBX or Maya or 3ds Max, and you just convert it into the glTF.
Right, one more question, because Alexi's also going to come and do a presentation in a minute as well.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry.
So
just trying to keep us on track.
In the 2D world, people have like copyrights or watermarks. I'm wondering if glTF has any concept like that and how that manifests itself.
Yeah. Leonard can get that.
Actually, since I'm in the next panel, can we address that next? Yes, then we do have a big thing on that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.